Welcome to Talking Giants player profiles and projections. And today, maybe one of the most important, we have Matt Peart. 6'7", 318 pounds, but he looked like he bulked up a little bit, so maybe he's like 325 pounds. 24 years old, the third rounder out of UConn. He got his first season, he basically started one game due to a Thomas suspension, but he was in and out of that game. They rotated. He played about 2.5 games worth of snaps. No true start from beginning to end, so it's hard to really look at that totally because he never got game plan for in his career. But Justin, is it dramatic to say that there is no single player who is a more bigger deciding factor on this season?
No, that's not a hot take, and I would quite frankly agree with you in terms of established or non-established players, right? Because if you had to rank the most important players on the Giants roster in terms of going out there and having a really good year, I would say it's Jones, I would say it's Galladay, I would say it's Barkley, Andrew Thomas, and then Matt Peart is like fifth on that list when you just look at all the guys overall. And when you consider that this is basically Matt Peart's first rookie year where he's a full-time starter, and he's playing right tackle, which is a very, very important position, it's a huge year, and he definitely has a ton to prove as a right tackle for sure. I actually think the 318 pounds is correct because I was looking on Pro Football Focus. They have him down as 301. So the fact that it went up 17 pounds from the previous year, and he's not a huge dude. He's more tall than he is huge, but he did certainly bulk up, Bobby Skinner.
Yeah, when I say the biggest deciding factor, it's not Daniel Jones is the biggest. How does Daniel Jones play great? Where does he play? But with Peart, it's there's such a swing. It's he could be horrible and be the disaster, the guy who just nukes this offense is Matt Peart, and he also has the ability to be great. Now, I'm not expecting great at all this year. What I think we're gonna get, or what I am thinking we're gonna get out of Matt Peart, is there's gonna be some games where we're this guy is bad. And then there's going to be games oh my gosh, did he bounce back? Because I think that's what he's going to be his first year fully starting. I think there's going to be some guys who, who take advantage of him and beat him like crazy. And then I think there's going to be some games where we're my gosh, this Matt Peart guy, he can be the real deal. And let's talk about why. Let's get some, since it's O-line, we can get a little nerdy on this one. He's got all the tools to be a great player. And I've made this comparison a million times this offseason. But to him and Shane Lemieux, Shane Lemieux doesn't have the tools to be a great pass blocking guard. Matt Peart does have the tools to be a great pass blocking tackle, but tools don't mean anything. You got to put it together. The good thing is his mistakes were very fixable. They were opening up his hips too early, opening, sliding back, opening up his hips too early, and just giving pass rushers an edge to get around the corner. And that paired with he didn't punch, he would place his hands, not punch his hands. And that was what got him in trouble. You did see him get a little better at it towards, in that Seahawks game. You're wow, he's setting, he got a good, nice vertical set, power down versus an inside counter, which he didn't get a ton of against because he opened his hips. But then you, watch the Ravens game, and it's oh my gosh, he got destroyed. He had a really bad sack, and he didn't play many drives. So I think it's going to be an issue this year. I don't know if it's going to be, just putrid, no hope in this guy issue. But I do think it's going to be an issue because we saw a little bit of it in the Jets game. Now, we haven't watched the Browns game at this point. We're recording this beforehand. But in the Jets game, we saw it on that sack. And I know there was supposed to be a chip, but that doesn't change what Matt Peart did wrong on that play.
In regards to him as a pass blocker, overall aggression, and especially the aggressive hands, is something that I definitely want to see out of him more this year. Even as a run blocker, just being a more aggressive football player. Bobby, say what you want about the rest of the four offensive linemen and their strengths and their weaknesses. I feel like they're all nasty dudes. I feel like, they like to finish their plays. Andrew Thomas is tossing a dude during the first preseason game on a pass blocking rep. Nick Gates likes to finish his plays. Will Hernandez likes to finish. Lemieux definitely, he definitely likes to finish. So the rest of those guys have that nasty mean streak in them. I want to see a little bit more out of Matt Peart in year two. Get some more confidence in you. We haven't seen him play a full slate of snaps in a given game yet, like you said. And
We've never seen him be game plan before ever either.
Right. But also positive to that is, well, you haven't had a game where you just struggled from start to finish, but also the negative to that is, well, let's just say, like, take for example in the Philly game where he comes in for 6 snaps, 3 of them as a pass blocker. Well, if you're getting beat on one of those plays and you're leaving with the sour taste in your mouth, yeah, it's a positive that you're not making more mistakes, but also it's a negative that you don't get your sea legs under you. So you can take it either way with Matt Peart. So hopefully he was able to take, what he did last year and, know exactly where to pinpoint the weaknesses. If we're realizing where he has to kind of pinpoint his weaknesses, I certainly hope that Rob Sale, Freddie Kitchen, and everybody else is realizing it too, especially as a pass blocker with opening up the hips too early and not using your hands aggressively. Those are 2 pretty simple things, but they're also 2 pretty essential things that hopefully he should be able to get in line this year.
And that's why I think preseason games are like more important for him than any of the other offensive linemen, because he hasn't had a ton of, like, he doesn't have experience. Every other guy on the offensive line has game experience, where he doesn't have that full game, and that matters. And then you could talk about practice, but the Giants' edge rushers aren't good, and even the ones, like, even in them not being good, their strengths kind of play into what Matt Peart is good at. Like, I can see Matt Peart just handling Azeez Ojulari for a game because of Azeez not being a guy who's gonna like bull rush a player, even though I think Azeez would win some of those reps. But like Matt Peart but the flip side of him not having that experience is he's also not have the experience to go up and learn from playing, because that's how you learn the most is from playing. Like, you can practice as much as you want, learning from playing. So I think the joint practices, the preseason games, matter for him more than any of the other offensive linemen. Let's talk about like his positives though in the passing game. Once he's locked on, he mirrors with the best of them. Like,
he's very athletic. I think the one positive that he has going for him in all facets of his game, I think he is an NFL quality tackle athlete at the position. Unlike
easily, and he's
Cam
strong
Fleming.
enough too.
Cam Fleming was not. Cam Fleming was just a dude bumbling, rumbling out there and just being okay. Matt Peart has quality traits to be an athlete at that right tackle spot.
And he's got like the natural strength. Like we talk about him not punching, and then when we talk about it in the run game too, he's got that natural strength where he can control you with his hands without leaning. And when you talk about being mean, a lot of that honestly is leaning, which you're taught not to do. But in reality, if you're an offensive lineman, you do lean. Like, there's, for the most part, like 99% of guys can't move somebody without leaning. Matt Peart is the one guy who can, and that's why, like, when you talk about like that whole like mean streak, I don't think you're ever really going to get that from Matt Peart where he's doing that. He's going to move guys. He's going to like do stuff in the run well. But I don't ever to see him being that. But again, like his positives. Once he wins that rep, he wins. Like, he can mirror with the best of him. His footwork's great. He's not leaning. His balance is amazing. Like, it's great. Like, it looks almost weird the way he has his arms. They're almost at like 90-degree angles. And like, he can't be like pulled forward. Like, he just has that natural strength, balance, and athleticism to where, even Andrew Thomas, who is much better and should be much better than him, like, maybe doesn't have that Matt Peart has. And that's why Matt Peart was drafted in the 3rd round, even being a project like type player. I guess most tackles in the 3rd round are probably project guys. Let's talk about in the run game. Has the raw strength to move guys. Like you said, he's not going to be leaning on guys and, going crazy, but he's got that natural strength. But also, that's a good thing, too, is like, he's not going to get caught leaning. Like, Matt Peart's not going to really fall on his face. And he pancakes guys off the snap, too, that's hard. Like, you don't see that a ton. And athleticism-wise, he has everything you need to run any scheme. Like, He can pull. And he did that, actually, at UConn a lot. You can run outside zone with him. I don't know if his footwork is there. And the Giants didn't run really outside zone when he played, so it's hard to say, and UConn didn't really at all. He has the athleticism. I don't know if he has the footwork. That footwork has to be taught. I do think the Giants are going to try and install that this year. Supposedly they wanted to last year, which didn't make sense with Cam Fleming as your tackle. It makes a little more sense with Matt Peart and obviously Saquon. Works combos well. Like he's a solid run blocker. I don't think he'll ever, he doesn't have the ceiling that an Andrew Thomas has, but he's a solid run blocker. And if you even look at the preseason game, him and Will Hernandez were working combos very well.
I don't think this Giants offensive line right now is getting enough credit for the unit that they are together as a run blocking unit. Now, pass blocking is more important because if you're not throwing the ball efficiently in the NFL, you kind of aren't doing anything unless you are. Well, no, even the Titans and the Ravens and the 49ers throw very efficiently. The run complements what they're doing very well, but neither here nor there. If you're not throwing the ball efficiently as a pass blocking unit helping that passing offense, you're not anywhere in the NFL. But Giants offensive line, they're still not getting enough credit as a run blocking unit. And I think, Matt Peart and Andrew Thomas, their primary strengths being their run blocking is kind of going to be the engine that gets this train kind of rolling here. So I'm excited for the Giants and their ability this year, and Matt Peart's ability to show off kind of from the start his ability as a positive, good run blocker. I think that's going to get even if he struggles a little bit as a pass blocker, Bobby, I think that's going to be the thing that's going to get fans on his side saying that he's a solid run blocker.
And I think the Giants often, they added all these weapons, but I do think they're not dumb. They know what to stay their offensive line. And I know people get mad about, efficiency stuff, but I do see the Giants not being a run-first team, but running the ball more than the average team because they know their offensive line's strengths and weaknesses. And, setting them up to not have to be where it's just pass, and it's okay, let's take advantage of Matt Peart here. Let's play into our guys' strengths. So
yeah, I mean, they did that last year in quarters 1 through 3. They were one of the teams that ran the ball the most in the NFL. But then the fourth quarter, the problem is if you're down in football games in the fourth quarter, the Giants were throwing the ball left and right, left and right, left and right. So there needs to be a little bit more of a balance. But I do get what you're saying, where if the strength of this team is going to be their run blocking and it's going to be Saquon Barkley, then you're going to have to use it, and it's going to probably be more than I like.
All right, anything else on Matt Peart?
No, if there's a guy, I usually end these PPPs saying rooting for you.
I want you to say that you're not rooting for one of them because you say it on every episode.
Well, you root for the guys in blue. I mean, that's what you got to do. But if there's one where I really mean it, maybe Nate sold it. I say it a little bit sarcastically, but Matt Peart, rooting for you, brother. Go out there, be good, be this right tackle that this franchise has been looking for, and be a part of this offensive line that hopefully is going to be here for a long time.
No doubt. All right, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. Until then, let's go Big Blue.